Welcome back, my friends. This is 360 Sports Network's analysis of the AFC and NFC first round playoffs. With me tonight is Alex DeLaverson and James Dotson, our expert analysts. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Greg. We're ready for some playoff football. I mean, personally, the teams that I root for normally aren't there, but that just makes the playoffs even more fun because I don't have to be biased and I don't have to cheer on one team in particular. That makes it all the more fun for me as an analyst.
Yeah, that is an advantage of not having the Steelers in the playoffs. You can just kind of sit and relax instead of just yelling at your TV, pulling out your hair. So my Super Bowl pick's still alive, so I have a very good chance here to really enjoy myself these next few weeks.
Well, let's sit down here and set this all up here. Now, we have right now, in our first round, we have the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC going against the Baltimore Ravens. And pros and cons on this one, Dotson.
Well, you know what? Baltimore's defense is not what it used to be. They rank in the bottom half of the league in both rushing and passing defense. And I'll tell you what, when you have an emotional story like the Indianapolis Colts have with Chuck Pagano now back on the sideline, this team came from the number 1 draft pick to the playoffs for, I believe, only the second time in history now. I think Indianapolis has a great chance because they have a pretty solid defense as well, solid enough that they can hold back a Joe Flacco, Ray Rice game. I think that the Indianapolis Colts can very easily pull off this upset here.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think they can. I think another storyline, though, is that Ray Lewis, coincidentally just decides to announce his retirement right before the start of the playoffs. I think he's also doing that. I think he's mostly doing that as a motivational factor. I mean, why wouldn't he just wait till the end of the season? So I really think that will go a long way. I think this is an entertaining matchup. I think, my heart wants the Colts to win because, the whole Pagano story. But even though the Ravens' defense isn't what it used to be, I just got to side with the Baltimore Ravens here.
I see the Baltimore Ravens as a very curious team. I've mentioned this in earlier podcasts. This is a team that got rid of their offensive coordinator and had a guy who basically has never called plays in the NFL take over as their offensive coordinator. This is a team that's got a quarterback in Joe Flacco, which it all depends on what day of the week it is, whether or not Flacco is going to produce or not. He actually makes Alex Smith look like an all-pro quarterback with Alex Smith's numbers compared to what Joe Flacco can produce. And you have an aging defense. This is a defense that's very long on the tooth. You combine that with the fact that we have a Chuck Strong team with Bruce Arians as the offensive coordinator, and by the way, an awesome quarterback in Andrew Luck and an awesome receiver, T.Y. Hilton. I really think the Colts are going to best the Ravens probably by a good 10 to 15 points.
Well, here's the thing. Whether they have a new offensive coordinator or not, whether he's called plays or not, it's easy for what they should be doing. You give the ball to Ray Rice. When he gets 20 or more touches in a game, in like the last 4 years, they've lost a total of 4 games. They've lost like 25 games otherwise. It was some ridiculous stat. I wish I had it precise, but essentially it's he gets 20 carries, they win almost every time. When he doesn't, they're 500 at best. And I'm not sure if it'll happen or not, but it's if they're going to win, they got to get Rice the ball.
Okay. Our next AFC matchup, we have the Houston Texans versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And, Alex, where do you see this matchup going?
Oh, man, I would definitely say the Texans easily. But, they're really weren't the dominant team that they were the, majority of the season. They've kind of been slacking the last few weeks. That being said, I still think the Texans come out on top. I think, the Bengals definitely do have a great chance. I like Andy Dalton. I like, A.J. Green. But, I'm thinking, Houston being the higher seed, having Arian Foster there, hopefully they're going to trying to get it together more now that they're in the playoffs. I just think it'll be too much to handle for Marvin Lewis and his team. So I'll go with the Texans here by a score around, 27-21 or something like that. I think it'll be a close game, but Texans get the edge.
Well, you know me, guys. I am the upset specialist. I love picking the upsets. Therefore, I am picking the Houston Texans. Now, I can't pick Cincinnati to win this one. I think you're right, Alex. It will be a close game, but the way Andre Johnson's playing right now, he's had over 10 catches in like 6 out of his last 7 games. He's on fire. The team as a whole is not, but they can lean on him and Arian Foster, and they can win this first-round matchup. I mean, the Bengals scored 10 points, or 13 points, I should say, very poorly. 7 of it came on a pick six against the Steelers in Week 16. So I don't see them doing very much offensively to be able to keep up well enough with Houston. I think it's a relatively low-scoring game. 17-10, I think Houston will win.
I would have to agree with you on this, Dotson. First off, one of the problems is Cincinnati is just happy to be there twice back-to-back. Whereas Houston has a lot more to play for. They've got Arian Foster and Andre Johnson both starting to go along in the tooth. You've got Matt Schaub, who is finally healthy again now, and he's out there. And this is a team that we can't guarantee that this nucleus is going to be there for another year or two. This is Houston's season right here. And if that's not motivation for them to go out there and to establish a victory, I don't know what else is going to get this team going. So I actually see Houston besting Cincinnati here by a margin of 2 touchdowns. All right. In the NFC, we have the Washington Redskins versus the Seattle Seahawks. Dodson, what do you think of this one?
Well, you can't have 2 teams who are more hot coming into this game, except maybe the Denver Broncos. I mean, Washington and Seattle have both won, I believe it's 7 straight games now at this point in the year, and we can make any joke about why Seattle is winning their games at home when they're playing in Seattle. We'll leave your fans to have the imagination for that one. But that aside, I think that the difference in this game is going to be what team runs that spread offense better. And RG3 just is not healthy enough for me to be able to give them the edge. They're happy to be there. They did a great job getting there, but they can't rely on Alfred Morris to run for 200 yards, especially against Seattle's defense. I got to give the edge to Seattle because their defense is too strong and RG3 is too banged up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Seahawks are arguably the hottest team in football right now. In a way, it's good that they're coming right into it, maybe not taking a bye. They're kind of riding that momentum. And the best team, the team that most likely goes to the Super Bowl, at least in the last decade, is the team that's the hottest going into the playoffs. And right now, I think it's the Seahawks. And yeah, RG3 is banged up. Washington, kind of a good story with Mike Shanahan, getting the Redskins finally into the playoffs after a while. But the Seahawks, they scored like over 100 points in their last 3 games, and that's something special there. So I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks will be just too much to handle for Mike Shanahan and his Redskins.
I really like Russell Wilson in this particular game. This is a team that's consistently gotten stronger and stronger. Marshawn Lynch is on the top of his game at this particular time frame. Wilson is playing like a man possessed out there right now. And who would have thunk that this guy would have taken the league by storm like this? And actually, I think he's the better story between him and RG3. I think Russell Wilson, has eclipsed RG3 in this particular case. However, I will make a very strong argument for Washington here. RG3 is a very, very savvy quarterback. This guy, it might not be as hot as Russell Wilson is, but he's definitely much more cerebral. Plus, he's got a guy that is catching everything out there in Pierre Garçon, and Alfred Morris is making a nice play. Washington could win this. I see this as a very, very close game, a game perhaps 27-24 with perhaps Seattle winning this particular one. But it's going to be a very, very interesting affair nonetheless. A very entertaining game to watch.
Well, the only thing that scares me for Seattle is the fact that they do not play well when they're away from home. And that could very well be the difference, and that's why I don't blame you for picking Washington there, Greg. I think that it's a very, very good possibility that RG3 could go off on them because, well, when they're away from Washington and everything that's up there, they just don't do well.
Yeah. Our next game to look at is Green Bay versus Minnesota. And Alex, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, this is probably the game I'm looking the most forward to. Minnesota being my favorite NFC team. I really hope, Adrian Peterson, the Vikings, come out in this one. And they're playing hot. They just beat these guys. But, Green Bay being the higher seed, it's going to be harder playing down there at Lambeau. I know, winning at Lambeau hasn't been as hard as it's been the last few years. But you just kind of get the feeling that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will, at least in my opinion, you get the feeling that they're going to come out on this one. I don't really have too much to add, but if Adrian Peterson keeps going like the way he did last game, then I think the Vikings have a decent chance to win this game. So I want the Vikings to win, but I think I'm just going to give the slight edge to the Green Bay Packers here.
Well, the Vegas odds makers have Green Bay with I believe the best chance out of all the teams in the NFC to win the Super Bowl. And that's why I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. I think Adrian Peterson is going to put this team on his back. In his 2 games against Green Bay, he ran for 210 yards and 196 yards in those 2 games. I think that speaks in and of itself of what this guy can do. Christian Ponder's a lot better quarterback in his last game than he did the first time at Green Bay. I think you're going to see more of that from Ponder, and I think you're going to see a Minnesota team out for blood, and I think that they pull off a huge upset up there in Lambeau Field.
I tend to agree with you on this, Dodson, only because of the fact that Green Bay's defense is not as it once was. When you have Adrian Peterson putting up the monstrous numbers in back-to-back matchups like this, I really see Minnesota taking the advantage, even though they have an untested quarterback in Christian Ponder. This team is resting on Adrian Peterson's legs at this particular time frame, and if they just play good enough, Green Bay's run defense cannot withstand this attack that Minnesota's going to provide, and I see Minnesota beating Green Bay in a very close matchup.
Well, we have our first-round picks in. Going by consensus, we have Indianapolis, Houston, Seattle, and Minnesota as our winners. Let's just quickly play it through if this were the case, because we have a lot of mix-ups. I just want to hear who you have would advance in these games. We would have Denver facing Indianapolis. Who wins?
Denver.
Denver.
Yep, I agree. Denver moves on to the AFC Championship game. Who will they face, New England or Houston?
New England.
New England, I agree. New England, you'll have the top 2 seeds out there. In the NFC, I should say, you have Atlanta, who will face number 6 Minnesota in that game. Can Adrian Peterson's legs take him any further there, Alex?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Wow.
Whoa.
I think that if the Vikings get past Green Bay, they have a very good shot of coming out as NFC champions.
That's bold. That's bold. Do you agree or disagree with that, Craig?
I disagree with that, only because Atlanta has way too many weapons. Matt Ryan is far too poised of a quarterback. Minnesota is basically pretty one-dimensional, and the Atlanta defense is pretty strong against the run and pretty strong against the throw, and I really think Atlanta would definitely shut Minnesota out. Not necessarily shut them out, but it's not going to be much of a game for Minnesota.
Yeah, Atlanta's a little bit weak when it comes to the playoffs. We've been talking about Matt Ryan for years with that regard, and I really like the pick, Alex, but I can't see it. I can't go with it. I got to take Atlanta in that one. So we'll have to pencil them in moving on to the NFC Championship. Now, who will they face? Seattle and San Francisco in their rubber match. San Fran at home, Alex. Who takes it?
I got to go with San Francisco. I had them coming out of the NFC at the beginning of the year. I'm going to stick with it. So I'll go with I have to go with the Niners here. I'm not going to go back on my previous pick, even though I kind of wanted to choose Seattle, but I'm just going to be a man of my word and stick with the Niners.
Greg, do you agree with the Niners, or are you going to go with hot Russell Wilson?
I have to agree with the Niners only because of the fact that the Niners have been there before. And the Niners, Seattle is a Cinderella team, no doubt about it. Seattle is a definite sleeper team, no doubt about that. However, the 49ers have much more to play for. And with that said, I really believe the 49ers can beat Seattle. But, and this is a big but, don't be surprised if Seattle beats the 49ers because there's some definite chinks in the Harbaugh armor. So, with that said, it could be a toss-up, but I'm going to go with the 49ers.
Yeah, I think I'll give the edge to the home team here just because that's how it's been in the regular season. And I think that with an extra week to prepare, Colin Kaepernick and that 49ers offense is going to go lights out again like they did against New England. I really think that they're going to, I don't want to say cruise, but it'll be close to cruising into that NFC Championship game. So, who are our Super Bowl contenders? We have Denver versus New England. Alex, you sticking with New England as your pick there?
I am. New England comes out of the AFC.
Greg, your choice. Denver. You got to put it all on me. I got to go with the team that's hot right now, and I love the Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady matchup. I'm taking Peyton Manning, so I have the tiebreaker pick. Denver is our representative in the Super Bowl. Who will they face, the Atlanta Falcons or the San Francisco 49ers? Who do you think, Greg?
I would have to say it would be the Atlanta Falcons.
Alex?
San Francisco 49ers.
You're going to make me do this again? You're going to have to make me be the bad guy here? Well, I guess I love Atlanta. I really do, and I know I picked them halfway through, but I'm going to go back to my original pick at the beginning of the year. I'm going to take San Francisco. I just think that I still... You know what? Forget it. I changed my mind right here on the air. I changed my mind, and this is why. Atlanta, Matty Ice, he wants to finally be called legitimate. Honestly, he is like Peyton Manning in the fact that he was a guy who was really great, put up great numbers, yet when it came to crunch time, he couldn't pull off the big win. This is his chance, and he's going to go into the Super Bowl and play against Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl. So, Alex, let's start with you, because you said New England versus San Fran. If that was your Super Bowl, who would have won it, New England or San Fran?
Oh, God. See, this is, beginning of the year, I would have went with San Fran easily, but, you know, I could see the Patriots wanting revenge against the Niners. You know, the Niners bullied the Patriots the first half of that game a few weeks ago in Foxborough. Oh, God. You know, I kind of want to say New England, but I'm going to stick with San Fran because I know if I do that, I'll regret it later. It's just how it works. So I'm going to go with San Francisco.
That really is how it works. All right, Greg, we both have Atlanta versus Denver in our pool here. So who do you see hoisting Lombardi's trophy?
I see Peyton Manning hoisting the Lombardi trophy only because of the fact that if somebody can be a coach and a general manager, somebody can also be the quarterback and the coach. And with that said, and with the great respect that I have for John Fox and the whole John Elway organization of the Denver Broncos, this is a team of destiny. This is a team where Peyton Manning is basically thumbing his nose and pretty much the whole Indianapolis Colts organization, and basically saying, hey, I did this, I'm doing this my way, and I see the Broncos basically picking apart the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
I think so. I think I have to agree with you on that. And, I mean, if Atlanta was playing someone in the Super Bowl who had not been there before, I might take Matt Ryan. But I think that first time there is going to be a little bit too much for him. You can't beat Peyton Manning, not when he has a good defense around him, and he's turned two mediocre wide receivers into two great ones yet again. I got to take Denver going all the way to hoist Lombardi's trophy again. And in so doing, he could very much legitimize himself being by far the most valuable player if he were to do that, to take a team barely playoff bound and turn them into a Super Bowl champion. That would certainly call as MVP quality there.
Oh, no doubt about it. And basically voting him to the best quarterback in the NFL.
Maybe in all time.
Well, perhaps. Well, those are our picks from 360 Sports Network. Follow us closely. Call us out on them. Call us up on them. And let us know what you think. We will be doing a Super Bowl podcast, and I believe we'll be doing a Round 2 playoff podcast as well, where we will be analyzing what we've done and what we've failed to do. Until then, this is the Mad Scientist. Have a good evening.